So the first time I came in contact with meth, I was 13 years old, living out in Stony Plain, two loving parents, wonderful home, struggling around that time, puberty and around sexuality and identifying myself, my place in the world as a young teenager. Another adult made the opportunity to try methamphetamine at that point, and that adult made it in an injectable and injected it into my arm. So that was my first time, and it was a frightening experience, and I made that decision to go ahead with it. And over the next few days of being awake, I certainly wish I hadn't have gone through that experience because it was quite frightening. The adult was one of my drug dealers, so at that time I had also started smoking pot, and I had a lot of arguments with my parents. At that time I was diagnosed with ADHD, some other things going on, but it was prior to that time I had already started sort of criminal, or started stealing things from stores, started stealing money from school and paying for lavish trips to go to West Edmonton Mall to play the arcade games and things like that. So the person that presented that, I'd kind of ran away from home and I was kind of living there, so to speak, and I think it was sort of at the permission of my parents, because they were like, you know what, do whatever you need to do right now. But we were in a small town, so things were kind of safe back in the 1990s. I would say for the preceding 5 or 6 years was a struggle with many other substances at that point. The big thing was trying to work out my own guilt and shame for having the desires or the sexual ideas that I had. And having remained secret about those kind of things. So I would say that experience made it a lot, I would say, easier for me to decide to try this substance or do this, instead of like, hey, no, I don't want to do that, not a chance. More like my thinking was, well, I've already tried meth, why not? Let's try this one. Walterdale Bridge was somewhere where I once had to sleep at and underneath the old Walterdale Bridge. Having moved away from Edmonton and lived homeless downtown or within the correction system, I found myself time and again sleeping under the bridge for a safe place and to be out of the weather. It's a big part of my life, and now my work is mainly downtown here, helping other folks through similar journeys as mine, and it's got a lot of meaning here. We learn through our own experiences, but we can also learn from the experiences of others. And for myself, being able to share my perspective and my experiences and my journey has been not only an asset to myself, but also to many that I've had those conversations with. Hence why I've been able to make my journey and the difficult things of my journey an asset into my social work practice now. Being a social worker allows me to be face-to-face with people with similar struggles. We're all sharing a planet, we're sharing a space, we're sharing a city. Not one person has been dealt the same hand as the next person. And we all have to try to really understand that. And if we can all put our hands together, we can figure out what each person might need. And then they can make those choices that they want to make. Most people don't make a conscious decision to want to live under a bridge and to stick the needle in their arm every day. Most people don't want to do that. But they find that as the best way to get through the moment, to survive, to cope with the stuff that's been dealt in the hand that they have.